Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm chilling outside Grand Square. I'm about to go in and buy some groceries. So I said, let me just make a quick recording and update you guys about what happened on my radio show yesterday. So if this is your first time of listening to the podcast, apart from this podcast, I also have a radio show. It's called the Business Booster Show. It's on Radio Maria 91.3 FM. And it's also devoted to business education, just like this podcast, and I take things from a sales and business development perspective. So it's a call-in show. So unlike the podcast where you sit down here and you're listening to my voice for 30, 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour. I think I've done an hour, 15 minutes. For the radio show, people get to call in after about the 20, 30-minute mark, and then we get to have all kinds of fun discussions and try and solve whatever business problems that these people have live and on the air. Now, there are some times that I have to have conversations with people in greater detail. So those people send me a WhatsApp message, and then from there, from the WhatsApp, we might have a phone call, where we try and brainstorm in some depth, because it's not every single problem that can be solved, or it's not every single problem that you can give useful perspectives on. If you're limited to talking to, 5 to 10 people on a radio show in about 30 minutes. So one of those instances where we had to go do a deep dive was when two callers in particular, Martins and Victor, they called in last week, and they had questions around raising business finance, and both of them had business plans. Now, Martins, if I remember correctly, Martins. Oh, and they were both Benue boys. So it was a coincidence that when we sat down to have a chat, that, all of us were Benue boys. So Martins wants to do the business of SIM and NIN registration. That's your national identity number. And then the Victor was trying to raise finance for a car fleet. He currently has one car, but he wants to his plan actually was to start off with a fleet of 20. And so since it was both around raising finance and they both have business plans, I told them on the air that, look, you know what, you guys send me a WhatsApp message and let's have a chat later on so we can go into some more depth. So I handled both of their cases together. So yesterday was me going back on the show, just let people know that, hey, remember those two guys that called in last week? We hooked up. This is the conversation we had. These are the things that we learned, and these are the outcomes of the meeting. These are the things that we're going to plan on achieving, basically. So, since there are some things that could be learned from the interactions that I had with Victor and Martins, remember, they both had business plans to raise finance for SIM and NIN registration, and then also for car fleet business. Let me just hop on air here real quick, and then share. Okay, no, this is not the air. Hop on the podcast and then share some of those insights with you guys, some of the discussions. Now, for those of you who are listening to the show today who would love to be in touch with me, the number to reach me on is 080-6466-2140. Again, the number is 080-6466-2140. Country code is +234. That's my personal WhatsApp number, not the radio station number, so don't worry. You send me a message, you'll be coming straight to me. Then you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. The name to look for is Tavishima Ayede. And YouTube, Tavishima Ayede, or just check Sales for the Nigerian Business Person, and all my material is going to come up on YouTube. So, we ended up having a group call with Martins and Victor. The three of us had a small chit-chat, we Benue boys. And I told them when I had a look at their business plan, the first thing I wanted them to add to it was a funding request, because what they did was they had business plans, and of course they use templates that you can find from the internet. And by the way, I have absolutely no problem with templates. Use templates, but just remember to personalize the templates, as much as possible. Make it sound less templatey. Because the thing is, if you're writing a business plan and you're using templates and everybody else is using templates, the person who is going to assess the business plan, they can kind of tell that, what, everybody's shy, they just send me template. And it's not a good feel. It's not a good look. So yes, use the templates, but templates are supposed to be a guide. So for those of us who studied law, our first background in law, it's something we're already familiar with. We have boilerplate contracts, standard plate contracts, template contracts and documents and all those sorts of things. But we must always have to take it and personalize it to the client that we're working with. So it's the same thing. You have a business plan, take the template, no problem, personalize it. But one thing that is missing in all these business plan templates that you find on the internet is they do not have any paragraph, any section there that deals with the funding request. Now, the funding request is where you guys ask the person specifically that this is how much money I need. I'm asking you for this amount. With the templates that are out there, the number will be squeezed into the document somehow, so it's left to the person to infer how much you need. But no, it's not good sales practice. It is best sales practice when we are very specific about our ask or about what we want the person to do next. So whenever we're having interactions with people, it should be very clear, this is what I am asking of you, or this is what I would like you to do next. If you're going to send a document, the document should also be clear. This is what I am asking of you, this is what I would like you to do next, or this is what both of us need to do to make sure that we achieve our goals. So you need to have a paragraph that is a funding request. Whatever it is you're going to call that paragraph, is up to you, or, we'll figure it out, But there has to be some funding requests that will say, this is the amount that I need. I'm trying to raise 2 million for my business. It's also going to show the allocation. The 2 million that you give me, if you give me, we will use X amount to buy SIM card, X amount to buy machine, X amount to buy camera, X amount to buy biometrics, and X amount for shop rent. That is the allocation portion. What am I going to use the money for? Then there's also has to be a section that is going to be devoted to ROI. ROI is just return on investment. Return on investment just means this. Somebody gives you money to invest into the business. You throw the money into the business. You now allocate the money. By the time the money has gone and done its work, some money is supposed to come back. That is the return part, return on investment. So if I take this money and I throw it in, and the money does what it's supposed to, and everything works out right, how much money are we going to be expecting to come back? That is the ROI. Then a section that says, that includes the repayment plan. So how much am I going to pay? What is the plan for paying you back your money? So let me repeat. In the funding request section, you have to talk about a couple of things. This is how much exactly I am asking of you. When you give me this money, this is how I am going to use the money. I will allocate it to this and this and this and this and that. And if we do that and everything works out okay, we expect that the 2 million that you have dropped should come back as 2.4M or as 2.5M. We will still need to reinvest it into the business. So based on that, the repayment plan is we're going to be paying you 200K every single month until we finish paying everything in full. Something like that, Chad. This is just a rough sketch. Okay. Then, of course, Martins, who was doing the car fleet business. When we say car fleet, we mean, like Bolt and Uber. So Martins, his own concerns was that he wanted the figures to be accurate and specific. And I was like, yes, the figures should be accurate and should be specific. But nothing in life is perfect. But the most important thing is when we're creating this document, it's more about the thought process and it's more about contingency planning. When somebody's collecting money, when somebody's giving you money, the person just wants to see your thought process and to see that you are thinking through things clearly. Because there are situations where some figures don't add up. All the person will do will point out and say, oh, sorry, I'm confused. On page 1, you said this. On page 2, you said this. And then you say, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Is the number on page 3 that's actually accurate? Sorry, forgive me. And then you go and amend it. So if you make a mistake, actually, it's no big deal. But people just want to see that you're thinking about this thing clearly and you are not just manufacturing numbers up and down. So that's the most important thing. Show your work, show the thought process, and show that you're thinking about contingencies. If this happens, this is what we're going to do this. If this happens, this is how we're going to do that. We plan on doing this, that sort of thing. Then, another reason why I wanted to have a conversation with them and why I'm sharing this over here now is because some of you are trying to raise finance and you guys have not realized that investor toasting or trying to raise finance is also a sale. Let me repeat. Trying to raise finance is also a sale. If you have a bakery, you're selling cake. Everybody knows that one. You're selling cake. You're selling meat pie. You're selling cupcakes. Everybody knows that one. If you're a fashion designer, you're selling clothes. Everybody knows that one. But for some reason, people think when you're raising finance, you don't realize that it's also a sale. You're selling. You're selling yourself. Please give me money. You're selling the business idea. This business idea is tapped. This business idea is tight. This business idea is, the thing is going to blow, right? So you are selling yourself. You're selling the idea. You're selling the opportunity. So it is a sale. Now, because investor toasting or trying to raise finance is a sale, we also have to follow the stages that we will do if we're also trying to sell anything. So, baker. So for baker now, cake and meat pie. This is the process that we have to go through for cake and meat pie. Prospecting. That's number 1. Qualification and discovery. Number 2. Proposal or presentation. Number 3. Close. Number 4. Did I say 4? 5. Anyway, close. And then after that, relationship building, because we are trying to get repeat business and referrals. So I repeat, the stages that you're going to run through, whether it's number 1 to 5 or whether it's number 1 to 6, you start at prospecting, then you do qualification and discovery, then proposal and presentation, then you close the deal, and then you do relationship building or relationship nurturing, because we're trying to get people to come back. We're trying to get them to stay in good standing. So that's what we do for cake and meat pie. Now, prospecting stage is for cake and meat pie. Who might be interested in my birthday cakes and who might be interested in my meat pie? Who is interested? You try and figure out who they are, where they hang out, because the next thing is we're trying to start conversations with these people, whether in real life or whether on Instagram or whatever. So for cake and meat pie, eventually we get to qualification stage where we try and figure out what do they like. Do they like meat pie with meat or meat pie with potato, or do they like meat pie with what's this one? This vegetarian option. I can't remember what it's called. So if you're doing small chops, you need to figure out what they like, so you know what it is that you're going to sell. It's the same thing with the cake, birthday cake. Do they like fondant icing? Do they like butter icing? Or do they like sugar craft? The one where you use sugar and make all kinds of sculptures. Maybe like you sculpt a swan or something like that, as in real fancy stuff. As in the things you cake bakers do nowadays. Like, I carry bomb for you guys. Like, you guys are legit, as in Nigerian cake bakers. They're on another level. So that's the qualification stage where we're having conversations. What does this person like about cake? What does this person like about meat pie? Proposal and presentation. That's the stage where we say, this is what I can do for you. So say, Oga, since you like meat pie, but since you are meat intolerant, since you are allergic to meat, and your wife is also a vegetarian, what we can do is that for your birthday party, for the meat pie and the small chops, we can do a tofu. The meat pie can contain tofu and fish supplements, something. Anyway, Sha. The meat pie will contain tofu, something, and it will meet with your dietary requirements and your wife's vegetarian preferences. And so that's the whole proposal presentation. And so, sir, if this is okay and everything looks okay, then what we need is we need a deposit of XYZ amount so that we can confirm your order. That is the close. The same thing with a birthday cake. Also, okay, madam, so since you want your cake to be one in town, you're about to turn 50, you want something that nobody has seen before, what we're going to do is we will not do fondant. People have been doing fondant icing in Nigeria since 1960. We will not do buttercream. People have been doing buttercream icing in Nigeria since 2010. What we're going to do is we're going to make a custom bespoke sugar ice sculpture, and we will sculpt it in you. We will sculpt it like you. That particular picture that you like, that is what we will sculpt, and we will paint it, and then that is how your birthday cake is going to look like. She will say, wow, you can do that. So yes, man, we can. And if you love that, we will need to, this particular project will need like 3 weeks to do it. And so for us to do that, mommy, we actually need the deposit now of 1.2 M so that we can start work, and you pay the balance on so and so. So that is the close stage. So I hope you guys see how it's going. We started from prospecting, well, now we're close. Then relationship building, relationship nurturing. Sir, did you like the small chops at your party? Mommy, did you like the cake? I hope it was one in town, blah, 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 this, that. Because the whole goal is to see how mommy can come back later on and buy another cake next year, or for mommy to refer friends and family members to come and do business with you this year or next year. So you see, this is how it works for cake and for meat pie. Now, let us take you to investors. Prospecting stage. Who might be interested in giving me money for my SIM and NIN registration business? Who might be interested in giving me money for my car fleet business? Who might be interested? It's a very, very pivotal question because it will determine where we should look. This is a common sense activity. Because, like for Martins, when I asked him who might be interested, he gave me a very common sense answer. He said, look, to discuss with people, what I've been doing is I have been going to places where I see a congregation of cars or where I see a congregation of people around cars. And for me, that makes perfect sense. So one of the places where he has been going to is he has been going to car dealers. And the scope is, do you have idle inventory here? These cars have been sitting in your car lot. Nothing has been happening. Do you know I have this business opportunity? My company does this car fleet. You can give these cars to me on this, whatever. This is how we take care of the car. This will be your share. This is the amount I'm giving Uber. And me, this is the amount I'm going to keep. And then he starts the conversation. So far, he hasn't closed the deal that way. But he found somebody who was willing to give him 20 cars. But they were not able to agree on the unit economics. They were not able to agree on the price. What the person was asking for his own cut would put Martins in a loss. But you can see how we always have to start at this stage, prospecting who might be interested in giving me money for this kind of business. So it's a very common sense approach. So who is interested? Then the next thing is qualification and discovery. This person that I'm talking to now, what do they like? Because the thing that they like is what will determine what it is that you're going to stress. Because there are some people that you're trying to raise money for your fleet business, and they think it's a good opportunity, but for them, they're worried about the safety of the car because they want the car back in good condition so that maybe in 5 months or 6 months they should still be able to sell it as second-hand Niger used. That will determine what it is that you are going to stress in the presentation. Some other person might not be particularly bothered. Their own might be take the car, use it as a fleet, but as you're using it as fleet, I want you to buy it at the end of XYZ, as in I don't want this inventory to return to me. As this inventory is leaving this car lot, I expect that at the end of the day, apart from me getting my money back, you will even buy this car yourself. That will determine what your proposal or presentation is going to be. So this whole thing of figuring out what does the person like, it will determine how it is that we're going to do these conversations later on. So qualification and discovery, very, very important. And I hope you guys are beginning to see how it's all the same. Whether it's cake and meat pie or whether we are raising money for car fleet business, can you see it's all the same? It's all a sale. Then the close is where you get the person to take action. Now, the relationship building part, the only difference now is that when we're talking about raising money, we do investor or stakeholder management. That's what we do now. Because if there is no stage in the process where from time to time we call up the investor, like let's say you raise money from Auntie Monica for your business. If there's no stage where you call Auntie Monica and say, Auntie Monica, how now? You say, oh, my son, how are you? Auntie, I'm very fine. Oh, I just said I should call and greet you and give you some updates about that our business. You say, oh, that our business. Oh, yes, Auntie, now, you gave me 5 M. So, oh, okay. So, my son, what has been happening? Oh, yes, Auntie, we're able to buy this number of cars and this, that. The thing is moving like this. We had some problems. We had to buy spare tires. We had to do mechanic, blah, blah, blah. But Auntie, so far, it's looking like we're going to be able to meet our goals that for July of this year. So, congratulations, my son. I knew I knew I could trust you. Since we're a young boy, you've always done things the right way. You've always made our family proud. Oh, thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you very much, Auntie. So I just say I should update you. So anyway, since we're supposed to talk again in July, by July, I should let you know again. We'll talk and I'll know which account I'm sending the first payment back to. Oh, thank you very much, my son. God bless you. Okay, greet your wife and your children. Bye-bye. You see? That kind of meeting, investor, stakeholder management, you go and see them, you pick up the phone call, and you have the conversation. Since I took the money, this is what we've been up to, this is what we've done, this is what we've achieved. These are the successes. These are areas where we had small problems, or maybe this is the area where I need some more help, or something. But if we're having this conversation from time to time, then investors and stakeholders in our business should be fine and should be okay with dealing with us. But it is only when you collect money from somebody, you collect 2M from somebody in January, February, you didn't buzz them. March, you didn't buzz them. April, they didn't see you. And it's now entering July, they've not heard from you. You can see how they'll start, people start catching feelings and people start getting angry and all kinds of things. So you're honestly trying to do good business, but then they'll think that this boy is sharp, this boy is a fraudster, this boy is that. It's because you have left out the part in sales, which would normally be relationship nurturing and relationship building. In this case now, since we're dealing with investor and stakeholder management, because you've left out investor and stakeholder management, people will now be angry and people will now be looking at you somehow. The relationship will now begin to get sour. It will affect the way you're working on this business. And best believe that if things became sour on this business, there is no how that even if you have a greater opportunity in 5 or 6 years, that you can come back and meet this person and collect more money. Because what they will remember is the negative experiences that they had the first time of working with you. So investor or stakeholder management, really, really important. So I hope you guys can see now how, even though we're going to raise money from investors, it is also a sale. So we also have to go through this process. We'll sit down with a pen and a paper or with our phone and start writing who might be interested in giving me money for XYZ. Well, please remember that when you're talking to people, it has to be tailor-made to whatever it is that they're interested in. So that's what this whole thing of what do they like, that is what it's about. Excuse me. So like I told my folks on the air now, on Radio Maria, that let's say you're raising this money because you want to do crypto business, but Auntie Monica made her millions from buying and selling yam and cassava, and maybe Auntie Monica didn't finish secondary school. It might be a tough sell to start talking to Auntie Monica about cryptocurrency. It might. So, I mean, a tea woman who made millions from selling yam and cassava, she didn't finish secondary school, and maybe she was born in, 1943, or, 43 is too much. Let's say 1953, and she was born in 1953. You're now telling her, Auntie, come and give me 10M for crypto business. Like, how do you want to begin to start explaining that whole thing? So you're better off having crypto conversations with potential investors who already understand and are in the crypto space. Just like if somebody is in the crypto space, let's say like Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony is not in crypto. Uncle Tony Olumelu was in sales, then he started a bank, then they now bought Hilton Hotel, and what else? Okay, he also has shares, I think, in transmission company. That Uncle Tony, man, that boy is going to go far. That man, before he hears the podcast, Uncle Tony Olumelu is going to go very, very far. I mean, he now has a stake in transmission company. And then this guy, Otedola, I think Otedola is also trying to invest money in power infrastructure. I mean, those people, they can see the way forward. They're owning the key infrastructure that we need in this country, that everybody needs. So, where was I? So what I was trying to say basically is if there are some investors that are too sophisticated, so that let's say you're raising money because you want to sell yam and you want to sell charcoal. Maybe there's some investors that are too sophisticated for that kind of thing. So, but bottom line is, between prospect and qualification, those are the questions you'll be asking yourself. Who might be interested? What might this person be interested in? Then you now start having the conversations. What do they actually like? What is their background? Stuff like that. Then, yes, investing is a sale. So just remember that. Getting money from investors is a sale. Then for prospecting ideas, some of the ideas that we raised about how to get the people who might be interested, we looked at friends, family, and associates. Good thing is that I've already been trying that. Victor, also I've been mixing up the names. Victor is the one who wants to do car fleet business. So Victor was able to get one car from a family member. So you see that friends, family, and associates is a useful place to start. The goal is 20 cars, but from friends, family, and associates, he has already gotten one. So now we have 19 to go. And then for Martins, he has been talking to some of his classmates who are more, more buoyant, let me put it that way, more afloat to raise funds. But you can see that looking around friends, family, and associates, we can start those conversations. The only thing is we just need to be very clear on what those conversations are. This money that I'm asking, is it dash? Is it borrow? Are you giving it to me just because of, love of Jesus Christ, and so you want to help out a brother? If it is a loan, when am I paying back? We have to be very, very clear about these conversations. And I've made a podcast episode about that, so I'm not going to overflog it. That's the one that I made about Wonder Woman, the caterer in Benue State, and the things that I said she has to pay attention to when you're raising equity finance. When somebody wants to drop money so they can be a co-owner in your business. So I can't remember the title of that episode, but maybe just search within the podcast and put equity, and anything that has equity in it should have those sorts of conversations. So friends, family members, and associates. We also explored microfinance banks based on what it is they're trying to do, because proper banks, the loan would just be too much. Okay, it turns out location is important in these sorts of things, because for Martins, he's a thief boy just like me, and he's based in Aliede, and I know Aliede is not too, you understand, it's not too modern. Let me just put it that way. So I asked how far now. I know banks should not be in Aliede, but at least microfinance bank will be there. He's saying, oh no, he has tried it. That all the microfinance banks have closed and left Aliede. So he has to come to Makudi, that's the state capital, to have these sorts of conversations. But anyway, I told him that if I was able to check NDIC resources, that's the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, they might be able to find names and addresses, lists of microfinance banks that are available within the state, within Benue State, because I tried Google and I didn't see anything. So, NDIC might be a good resource to check for him. Then we also explored Islamic or non-interest finance. I've also made an episode on that, but that was a long time ago when I first started this podcast. So that podcast episode must be maybe 4 years back, 5 years back. So, the banks in question that we looked at was Sterling Bank, Jaiz Bank, and Taj Bank. So yes, Sterling Bank also offers non-interest financing or Islamic financing. But for now, let's just say non-interest finance. Now, some of you are just hearing about this for the first time. Islamic finance or non-interest finance just means people are giving you money, but they're not charging you interest. Don't ask me how that works. I'm not a banker. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is I found it appealing when I was trying to raise money a while back. And so I went into Sterling Bank to go and ask, because some people told me that Sterling Bank does Islamic banking. And I was like, Sterling Bank. Sterling Bank is not an Islamic bank now. But anyway, I took it on good authority and I went. And surprisingly, what I was told was accurate. I went there and I asked, and they said, oh yes, we do offer Islamic banking. And I said, okay, can I speak to somebody in the sales or marketing department, please? And they said, sure, just go upstairs, go here, turn left. It was the office that is next to the Pro Cathedral in Abuja. By the way, like I said, this was maybe some 4 or 5 years back. So I don't know if Sterling Bank still offers those products. And by the way, whenever I talk about some of these products on the podcast, I'm not affiliated to any of these people. They're not giving me money. So please go and do your own due diligence. Go and do your own research. Go and cross-check. Not everything that I say is factually correct. When it comes to sales principles, yes, I can say confidently with my full chest that I'm pointing you in the right direction. When it comes down to matters of fact like this, like which particular bank or which particular banking product, please go and do your own research. I'm not affiliated with any of these institutions. So, now the reason why I brought non-interest finance up for Martins and for Victor is because when I went to Sterling Bank, the products that they showed me was similar to hire purchase agreements. So this was how I was going to work with Sterling Bank. Sterling Bank was going to raise the money, and Sterling Bank was going to buy the lighting equipment, the lighting and the sound equipment that I liked. However, Sterling Bank was going to own the equipment, and then Sterling Bank was going to lease the equipment to me. I'll now be paying them something small every month. After a point, I would have paid off everything. Then Sterling Bank will now give me the equipment. That, okay, here, take your lighting equipment, take your sound equipment, take your smoke and whatever equipment. It is all yours. So that's how it works. Sterling Bank would buy the equipment and they will hold it in ownership as security. I would now be leasing and paying them money until I paid everything off. Then the thing would now become mine. So that was the kind of financing product that they had, but it was for acquiring products. And of course, Martins and Victor, they need physical products, physical inventory for their business. Victor needs to get cars. He needs 19. Martins has already sorted out house rent for the business. I say house rent, shop rent for the business. So Martins needs money for, what do you call this thing again? Biometrics. The thing that will scan your eye and scan your fingerprints and scan your palms and everything. Then they would also need camera and then SIM registration machine and computers and then stuff like that. So this was the sort of thing that, in my own opinion, it would work. It would be covered. But I told them, of course, go and talk to the marketing department, and they'll put you up to speed. So, what was I? Islamic banking, non-interest banking, yeah, that can work. So Sterling Bank, Jaiz Bank, Taj Bank, those are some names that three of us came up with. If you do your own research, I'm sure you're going to be able to find more, just in case you're running a business where you need to acquire physical inventory, you need to acquire machines, things like that. This is an option. And by the way, at least when I went to Sterling Bank anyway, because I told them, look, I'm Catholic. Is this a problem? They said, oh, no, not a problem. We do business with Catholics all the time. You don't have to be a Muslim. So, so even though you're Catholic or you're redeemed, go ahead, have a chat with them. People in sales and marketing departments are very, very helpful. They have a quota to hit, so they're always looking for new people to talk to anyway. So if you go, you will find somebody who will be able to answer all your questions and help point you in the right direction. So that was one of the options that we explored for prospecting. But of course, we didn't explore any more things because, to be honest, my conversation with them was already close to like 1 hour anyway. And then there are other things that I had to go and do because, like I say, I prioritize my paid client work because I am running a business. So I am looking for speaking, coaching, consulting opportunities, and I have to pay attention to people who have already paid me. But of course, that doesn't mean I can't spare 15, 30 minutes to talk to a fellow brother or sister who is in need. So pretty much that was an update on all the discussions that we had with Martins and Victor, and that's the reason why I'm making this podcast, so I can share some of the goodness that came out of it. But I guess what I'm trying to aim at today is just know that every single problem has a solution. Sometimes when you're looking at the problem overall, everything seems big. But if you just slow down, breathe a little, say your prayers, and you now start tackling small, you can see that you can be making progress one by one. So if you take it like this, that okay, this thing is also a sale, it can be broken down into these stages. Let me start with stage 1. You can see that you can make some progress, small. So, let me see. Was there anything else that we discussed? Okay, there were some other things that we discussed, but we've already done more than 30 minutes. So let me just bring it to a close here. So thank you very much for your time and your attention. If you'd like to get in touch with me for a consultation session, for you have questions that you want me to answer, or you want to run a strategy or a business audit, the number to reach me on is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. That's my WhatsApp number. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.